good to go.
Hello and assalamualaikum and good afternoon everyone. My name is Safwan and I'll be your moderator for today.
And I'll be your specialist for today. My name is Jasmine.
And I'm Hamiza, I'll be your adversary.
And I'm Ahmad Zafran, I'll be the activist for today.
So before we start our session for today, please ensure that you're not distracted with your gadgets, and please take down your own notes and be respectful during the discussion when the discussion begins. So for our question for today, movies encourage social evils. Before we start the discussion, I'll briefly explain what is social evil. So what is social evil? Social evil, it's like it affects the society in a negative way, such as alcoholism and etc. You can start.
So without further ado, I'll start with my first point. So my first point is that the movies itself shows violence, and it can lead to the normalization in aggressive behavior and can make people, or most likely the youngsters, to act violence in their daily life. So for example, I do agree that the movies can shows the good messages and also brings the negative impacts on people mindset, and especially for the youngsters. So on the interrogation shown in for the juvenile offenders, that they admitted that they were influenced by the action movies for their action, for example by shooting, stabbing and etc., without thinking the consequences after they done what they're doing. So because the movie itself can't show and didn't say anything what will happen once they're done with the action. So Hamiza, do you have any comments on it?
Well, yeah, I think most movies shows like aggressive actions like that, but I think also most movies shows the consequences of the negative actions that occurs, so that at the end of the story we are able to learn the moral of the story, and we can gain knowledge. For example, this movie is about drug addiction, and I'm pretty sure it also shows like the drug use and the effects of taking drugs, and by that, and at the end of the story we're able to learn the effects, and you will try to avoid yourself from taking drugs. Yeah.
Okay. And then,
I want to put on that information. So, like you said, violence sometimes it is agreeable that it cannot be added in movies, but at the same time, it should be, sometimes it could also be shown as a way to tell the audience about the impact of the story. Like for example, the movie Saving Private Ryan, if it wasn't for if they didn't show the violence at all throughout the movie, then the audience might not get the idea just how impactful and just how tragic the movie is about, and how the whole event is something that isn't supposed to be taken lightly. So, maybe do you want to continue?
so, I do agree with both of your opinions and your research also. So for my next point is that the movie can contribute to racism and gender inequality, and can form a discrimination through the portrayal of their certain characters and plot. So for example, the movie from Black Panther that aired from 2018, it shows the portrayal of American cultures. The movie portrayed the African nation, which is Wakanda, as superior and technologically advanced and more powerful than any other country or nation. So this depiction was shown as an offensive by some of contributed to the idea that Africa are underdeveloped and inferior region of the world. So in addition, The film was also criticized its lack of representation of African American characters.
What about you? Do you have any objection to what she said?
I feel like some movies they may spread awareness and influence the people on this certain subject. Like maybe it can use to motivate people, something like that. And for example, this movie, a Bollywood movie, which my name is Khan. The movie is about like Islamic. A Muslim is a terrorist, but actually they're not in reality. So I think, yeah, you can learn from that movie that actually Muslim is not a terrorist, like how they usually be in the Hollywood movies.
Do you have any comments? Wasn't sure.
Yes. But the racial part, it is true that sometimes the race that's shown within a film sometimes depicts how the real life city or the real life situations are. There are like multiple examples already happened. But then again, about the racial part, sometimes they need to at least depict it as accurately as possible. Like for example, have you guys heard about the Netflix show Cleopatra this year? So the movie it received many backlash just because the queen, which was depicted as black, but in reality, or at least according to some historians, she's supposed to be like the skin, as she was originated from Greece. So it should be understandable that Greece has like the skin tones compared to Africa.
So, do you have any points to?
Yeah, sure. So my next point is that the movies shows the glorification of wealth, which can lead to the reinforcement of existing inequalities and create unrealistic expectation from the viewers. So this glorification of wealth in the movies are often portray the character are more smarter, richer, successful, and than any other characters. So this glorification of power can create unrealistic expectation from the viewers, can also reinforce the inequalities in the society. So additionally, this can contribute that the perception of wealth and power in the essential of success and happiness in life, and which is not necessarily true, which can lead to the inadequacy of the failure, those who do not possess these attributes.
Do you have any opinions on her point?
Yeah, some movies can lead to like unrealistic expectation to the reality, but I think most people do enjoy them and think them as an entertainment also, because like they are the main source of our entertainment that are easy to achieve, or and I think like that kind of like unrealistic thing can improve how we think into more advanced, and I think it can develop our personality and character.
So, what do you think, Omar?
From those points that you just mentioned, it could be seen in two perspectives. one that being as a fictional, like just for fun or just for entertainment, or the other is for educational purposes. So it should be reasonable that if they want to depict all of those inequalities in movies, then it should have been for the reason of understanding that that scene or just what the movie was trying to tell you. So as long as the reason is not for the wrong reason, then it should be allowed. It should be allowed.
I'll just continue with my last one. So, this my last one is that the movies can also portray that women as the supporting roles often portray as a love interest or damsel in distress, which can lead to the assumption that women are not capable of doing things that men can do, which can lead to discrimination against women in society. Can also lead to the lack of opportunities and possibilities for women. So, for example, the movie in Titanic that aired in 1997, the character Rose, played as Kate Winslet, was criticized for being too reliant on the male protagonist. Jack, played by the Leonardo DiCaprio, and some critics felt that Rose's portrayal reinforced the stereotype of the damsel in distress, as she was portrayed by the passive figures who needed to be saved by the male protagonist.
So what do you think, Amisa, on her point that she just stated?
Like I mentioned, movies also helping in our socially progressive, which we can think in modern one other than the traditional ones. For example, like the movie Pink, the movies is about it can influence people to stop judging women based on the woman lifestyle.
I want to add on to that. So, movies, in a way, you said it's about inequality in genders, in a way, right? So, then again, there are some movies that depict, if it's not the opposite, then it should be at least equally as possible. Like for example, the movie Mulan. So the movie everyone knows already is about a girl who joined the Chinese army to defend their country against attack. So based on traditional values and the rules of joining the army, it should be men who are capable of defending the country. But since she is the only sole children of her family, and her father is already old enough to join the war, so she takes his place and ultimately successful in defending the country. So, in a way, it also shows just how women could also be treated as equally as men, and can set the rules aside for the sake of unity.
What do you think? You don't have any points to share? What about the activists?
So far,
Oh, okay. So, before we move on to the conclusion, let's hear some questions and some input from our audience.
Can you explain about why the showcase of the Wakanda is that is a racism?
So basically, like what they shown in the movies in Black Panther, they shows how this Wakanda nation, which is they make the movie like the African culture, which is they do it doing it's like more technology advanced, which is not based on the real like that.
So is it
But your point is racism, no?
Yeah.
But does that have to do? What does the modernize of that has to do with in reality as
So-
of racism?
So about your question that I just said before, that the African in the movies, the characters as the Black Panther, they were said that he was from America, and some people complain that he's not from America, and they said that he's African, which is racist.
Thank you for your question. Do you have any more questions? You can raise your hand.
Anyone? Hmm. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Yeah. I think that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. But Razik, you don't seem happy with her answer. You're happy, okay. He doesn't want to argue, that's why. Yeah, movies encourage social evils. So racism is a social evil, correct? So you're saying that that movie, that film encourages social racism. Okay, did you get that? There is a stereotype. Is that what you're saying? There is a stereotype. Are you saying that it is stereotyping a minority race? Are you saying that, or are you saying that it is deceiving? It has a deceiving nature where it is not portraying the real world.
Yes.
Is it that?
Yeah.
Anyone wants to say anything about that? About the movie Wakanda? Wakanda, right? Yes. Black Panther.
Black Panther, yes.
Yes. Does it encourage? Did you feel that when you watched the movie? That it encourages racism? I haven't watched the movie. Does it encourage racism? That's what you're suggesting, right? That it is portraying countries from Africa. And oh, I get what you mean. And it is not Africa. It's a computer generated image, right? Oh, okay. So the same argument as Cleopatra just now. Okay. So in that sense, that movies are not telling the truth, and in fact it might reinforce the racism, the negative aspect of society, that it doesn't reflect reality. Correct? Alright. I'm happy. Alright, I'm happy. You're not happy. You're okay. Anything else? Adrian, you don't look too happy, or you just hungry? Anyone? Any questions?
Do you have any points that you want to add in?
Yeah, to the argument. Movies encourage social evils. Raining.
Since I'm not so clear about the Black Panther movie, I think there's a Leo the Little Mermaid. There is a movie. I think that one can portray much more about racism. the prince is a white person,
Hmm.
but then his parents is a black person. So I think not really. It can maybe like can something from the racism. No.
The prince parents are black.
Yes. But the prince are white.
The prince is white. But Little Mermaid is black. Mixed. Black. Mixed is black.
There's like a lot of people saying about that. They've been quiet about it.
What do you think? This is interesting. Okay? So your question, Ilyana? Who wants to your question first? A question. Let there be a clear question first, and then somebody can address.
I just don't get why. Like, I don't get why.
Excellent. Okay. She doesn't understand why all the fuss. Correct? Yes. Why is it an issue? Why is it an issue, right? You're saying that people are making it an issue that his parents are black, he is white, and Little Mermaid is black. You don't understand the issue. Is that what you're asking? Is that what you're asking, Ilyana? Yes, you can discuss too, yes. Okay? Okay, it's interesting because while waiting for Ilyana's question, yeah, because Shazwina brought it up, Ammar brought it up as aspects of movies, reinforcing social evil. Prejudice is a social evil, all right? Prejudice, differentiation is a social evil. And if it is reinforces in movies, then what? What do we say? Safwan, don't forget, the burden of conclusion falls on your team later. So we want to take everything in, and then we want to arrive at an agreed conclusion. What is our takeaway from this discussion? Ilyana, ready with your question?
Oh my God. When she talked about the Wakanda nation thingy, I think that's like, since just now Razik asked about the racism, right?
Yes.
And then she said about the actor, like some said that he is American, and then some said that he is African American. So then like, I think it seems like to the separate points, no? Because Wakanda nation is like, it's more to like ethnic, is it? Like culture. And then racism is like, yeah, something
What do you think? We'll hear Shahira, not Shakira, Shahira first, and then we'll add it to, you will add everything to your comments later on, but this is nice. Okay, yes. I know Razik is not too happy also. You're not too happy. Yeah, I know you're not too happy. Okay, let's hear. Shahira, what do you think?
So you're saying that her point is not to talking about racism when it comes to Wakanda. I don't really know about Wakanda thing that you mentioned just now, so I don't really understand the point. But from what I get from it is like it's not. They are not portraying what it is in reality. The movies are not portraying what it is in reality, what it is actually. I think this is not part of racism also. Maybe it's more also like
which is
It's more like the reality. It's like deceitful information. It's like information that are not correct. So like it's not such. It's not about talking about racism, but it's more to false information in some movies. So it's like encourage social evils in a way that it even gives the correct information, especially if the one that watches the youngsters, as you see. So social evils, as in it encouraged them to maybe lie in a way in real life, rather than talking about the real or like the reality that's happening. So I think that's under the point of false information instead of racism.
Okay, all right. Good point. Okay, good point. I think everybody made good points. Just something extra for me, or just something from my own thinking also. Yes, so there's a difference. It's a fantasy. It is a fantasy. It's fiction. Wakanda, even Little Mermaid. It's based on a story, and then the story developed. So it is fantasy, but pieces of information from culture, from different ethnic groups were added to make the movie for effects, probably, for effects. But just like your fantasy fiction, right? Just like your fantasy fiction, it can be anything. One. Secondly, so I don't understand also why we need to pull the racism card. I don't think it is a racism issue, and I think, but we need to be sensitive also, because some people are still sensitive about race. Okay, that we all need to be sensitive. But it is also my assumption, or my belief, or my observation that young people or younger people now are not as sensitive of racist issues anymore, because you're all part of a global citizenship. We're all part of the same community. What community that is? A Twitter community. My friend in the US, my friend in the Philippines, we're all part of that bigger community. So it doesn't matter what race you come from, what ethnic backgrounds you come from. I think younger people are not as sensitive as people of previous generations. Why? Because we have to understand also people from the previous generations were, faced some hardships due to different racism. My second point. My third point, it's a different case for Amar's example just now, Cleopatra, because Cleopatra was mentioned based on true story, right? Based on true story. It became a bit sensitive because the movie creator was seen to have changed some crucial information to the background and the origin of Cleopatra herself. Okay, she was depicted in the documentary. So documentary means based on true story. She was depicted in the documentary as a black queen, right? But historians argue that she was in fact fair. She was light skinned. So that I can understand from the historians' point of view. But not necessarily a social evil. I don't think, like Shahira said, I don't think it's a race. It's an issue of race, but it's more of an issue of maybe just a deviation from the original facts. All right. So a deviation. So I can understand why the historians were upset. All right, so I understand why the historians were upset, but I do understand the sensitivity because the movies touch like a sensitive nerve also. Because again, when it comes to things like that, the movie producers need to be aware. All right, they need to be selective. They need to be critical in the colors. In the people they choose, because of the fear that it might be sensitive for the viewers. Oh my God. Okay. All right, so that's from me. So I pass it on to you, Safwan. So we've heard from the floor. So how are you going to add that up? Does any? Yeah, I pass it to you.
Thank you for the question and the inputs from teacher and Sharina. So, in conclusion,
You're gonna have to beat the rain, the storm outside.
so in conclusion, movie does encourage social evil, but it is worth noting that many movies now are bringing positive changes in society. Like, not all movies does encourage social evil.
Not all movie, okay?
So the present society is now like much more aware on the impact of everything on people and is easily expressing views on something that does bad to society. Hence, there's freedom of expression and intelligent society. A combination of both is a sign of progressive society.
It's a sign of
Progressive society.
progressive society. What's a sign of progressive society? I couldn't hear, it was raining. But that's a good point. But what's a sign of a progressive society again?
Where there's freedom of expression and intelligent society, where they are aware of things that encourage social evil, and they try not to encourage movement. They try not to encourage social evils in movies.
In the
So that's why it is a sign of progressive society.
Society. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Isn't that excellent? Okay, listen up. Yes. Yes. So maybe it is a sign of a progressive society. Although we are aware of, what social evils are, and we are aware of the triggers in movies or in social media of what social evils might or how social evils might be triggered. We are aware, and we stay away. We stay away from those triggers. All right, we stay away from those triggers. Okay, we stay away from those triggers. But I think as a younger generation, I think we need to chill a little bit. Yes, we need to chill a little bit and take everything in with just a pinch of salt and not be too sensitive with everything that we see. Okay, the fact is bad things happen, but good things also happen. So let's now concentrate on moving forward with positivity, and that is an example of a progressive younger generation and also progressive generation. Did you say progressive generation? Society, and that is an example, a sign, you said, of progressive society. Excellent. Yes. So we need to chill a little bit and take everything with a pinch of salt. Yes. Any more? Anything else to add, to comment? Haters? Any comment, haters? Hashtag, anything? Alright, okay. Again, well done. Good discussion, okay? From all panels. Like I said, I don't want to give comments at this stage. I think you are in your elements. You tried, yes. But Safwan, if this is a real forum, usually forum, the people we invite We don't pay. They are invited because of their expertise, because of their knowledge, because of their abilities to speak up. But the moderators we pay, right? I'm not going to pay you. Yeah, you have anything to say? Oh, boring, yeah. You have to say. Allah, you had more energy when you dance in front. You just there. Did you watch him dance? Dancing macam banyak energy. I saw you dancing. It was him, right? It was him, right? Yeah, moderator lama. I forgot to switch off the video. Okay, so